Hello Premier Global, my name is Charlotte Tooth and today I'm going to take you through a session on home studying. Now today we're going to speak about how to make your home studying more effective, how to ensure that you're not distracted and how to really find your focus when you are working from home. Now first of all, let's talk about why you would want to home study. Home studying can be a great way to ensure that you're getting your learning done. The brain likes stimulation, of course, and it's a great way to ensure that you are growing as a person but also as a trainer. The more you learn, the more you can learn. So when you learn, you create these new neural pathways, and this helps with the brain's elasticity, and the electricity in your brain starts to travel faster. The synaptic response is a lot quicker. So you end up being actually better at learning the more you learn. When you actually stop learning, your brain's function actually decreases. Especially in our world, the personal training world, the science is still ever evolving, constantly new white papers coming out. So I think it's really, really important to stay on top of things, particularly if you're a coach. It's very important that you know that your knowledge isn't skewed by your biases and you're actually taking the time to learn what is out there. And then, of course, if you're anything like me, you love learning. You're a real geek. You like buying a new notebook or new flashcards. It feels good. It feels great for my brain. I really enjoy it because it just means that I'm stimulated, and it means I'm not spending all my time purely with clients face to face. I'm giving back to myself. So today I thought I would make up a cheeky little acronym. This acronym is RESOLVE. As a slight side note, acronyms are a fantastic way to learn. We use them a lot at TRX. We use them within the courses, and it really helps people to remember what it is that they're trying to do in terms of order and in terms of information. Past the side note, R is for routine. Routine is incredibly important, okay? You've got to figure out when you like to study the most. So I personally am a morning person. I wake up and I'm literally bouncing around the house, okay? So I know that I'm a morning person. Past 5 o'clock, you can't get a good conversation out of me. So I make sure that my routine is getting up very early, 6 a.m. I have a bit of time to myself to meditate and mobilize, just to move the body and get out of my head. And then I start my routine, usually 6:30, 6:45. From that point onwards, that's my study hour, that's my time, that's whatever I need to do. So setting a routine is great. Making sure that you're getting out of your pajamas, making sure you're not studying the same space that you're sleeping and eating, if you have a choice. And then making sure that everything is set out the day before. So when you walk out, it's just like when you want to go for a run. You'd leave your trainers out, right? It's the same thing. Leave all your papers out on your table or wherever you're studying, and then this will encourage you to go for it the next day. Really, really important to sleep. After reading this book, Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker, I realized that I was not doing myself any favors in terms of my brain activity and my alertness. I was really starving my brain of sleep. So do sleep as part of your routine. It will change the way you learn. So the E in resolve is for environment. So just make sure you set yourself up for success. Remove notifications. Make sure you're muting your phone, and really make sure there's no distractions around you, okay? So don't sit next to the PlayStation while you're studying. Chances are you're going to want to jump on the PlayStation. Your brain really likes to do one thing at a time. I know we all like to think we can multitask, but we really can't. I listened to a brilliant neuroscience lecture the other day with Helena Borschi, and she was explaining that the brain really does not like to multitask. And if you really want to maximize on your efforts and your study time, do one thing at a time. So we've covered the R and the E. The S is for senses. Now, first of all, the brain doesn't actually like complete silence. The brain can register this as danger, and it can be quite distracting. So maybe try having something like binaural beats on the background, study music, meditation music. This can really, really help people to focus in and tune in. Binaural beats really helps to put your brain into that sort of alpha wave, which can help both with studying but also sleeping as well. Another one of your senses is your taste. Please make sure you're eating. You've got regular study snacks to keep you going. And then, of course, one of your most important senses is what you see. The eyes actually bully the other senses in your brain. So the eyes are quite dominant. So what you see is normally the thing that you're taking in the most, and then everything else is a bit of background noise. So just make sure that what you're seeing in front of you, your laptop screen, whatever it is quite dominant. And what you don't want to be distracted by is really pushed out of the way. O is for overview, so asking yourself some questions before and after the session. What am I going to learn? How am I going to do it? And then just making sure that post-session you're asking yourself that as well. L is for learning style. What works for you? How do you best learn? Personally, I really like to listen to things a couple of times, and then once I've written something out, it is literally cemented in my brain. So for me, I'm very much a listener, and then something where I have to write it out really, really helps. Some people prefer to act it out. I know a friend of mine who likes to create little dances about what she learns, especially she's just about to study to be a physio, so she is actually creating dances based on the circulatory system. You know, she's like, I'm the aorta, and then I am the ventricle, and she's dancing the movements, which sounds crazy, but for her it works. Another thing with learning styles is working out what works for you in terms of like flashcards, tests. I used to write myself tests as well, so I would write the test and do the test, which is a really nice way of learning. And with learning styles, you can be really creative. You can use all of your senses, what you see, what you hear, what you taste, what you touch, in really creative ways. Just figure out what works for you best. Now, V in resolve is for vocalize. I actually mean this in two ways. The first way is to talk out loud to yourself about the things that you have learned. So I like to turn over all my papers, bam, close them shut, and then talk to myself about the subject. Oh yes, I learned this, this, and this. This is what I mean. Because when you can talk about something, you are more confident with it. It's almost like you're presenting it. The second way I mean about vocalizing is to actually speak to someone about the subject. So whether this be your mentor, your friend, someone who's just studying the same topic as you, talk to them about it as well and have discussions, because this can be a really great way to both ask each other questions, learn from each other, and also solidify what you know. And then the final one in resolve is E for end time. I read a book by Mel Robbins called The 5-Second Rule, and she specified that any time that we set for the task ahead, we will fill that time. So if you say to yourself, well, I've got till 9 o'clock to do this really important assignment, you will literally fill up the whole day all the way until 9 o'clock, and you will not get that assignment done until that very last point. Set yourself a time that's realistic. Give yourself lots of mini breaks. I personally put my phone timer on, flip it over, and I'm leaving it for, let's say, 40 minutes. 40 minutes for me is the best time to really chunk and get all the information in. After 40 minutes, I'm not the best anymore. And then, of course, when we set our stop work time, it also allows for space for our relationships, for eating, for having time to ourselves. This is really, really important. So a few educators that I really recommend. Number one is obviously NASM. Right now I'm studying my nutritional qualification with them, and it's incredible. I love the way that the information is presented. The tutors are great, and I really like the way the actual information is palatable for you, and you get the time to really properly learn it. It's not too much of a rush. I also recommend TRX UK. We have a great educational system at TRX. Side note, disclaimer, I work for TRX, but I really do believe in the way they do their courses. We have such a great success rate with the way people take in information and the way they're able to apply it to other modalities as well. So whether you come in just to learn the straps, you will find that you will learn so much more that can translate into other areas of your training. Depending on the subject that you're trying to study, I really recommend Khan Academy. It's got some great information. It's really nicely laid out, and they make it very, very easy to learn. And then remember, you don't necessarily need to be on a course to be learning. Obviously, there's plenty of books out there. There's Audible, where you can listen to the book on the way to work. Don't go into information overload and try and do too much at once, but really do take the time to look out and see what resources are available to you. So thank you so much for joining me on this session on home studying. I hope you remember to resolve next time you want to study at home. So remember, you got your R for routine, you've got your E for environment, you've got your S for senses, O for overview, L for learning, V for vocalize, and then most importantly, E, set your end time. Resolve. My name is Charlotte Tooth. You can catch me on Instagram as Charlotte_Tooth. If you have any questions, any feedback, drop them below, and feel free to share this video to anyone who you think it might be useful to. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you all again on the next one.